The Second World War was a conflict of unprecedented scale and brutality. It engulfed the globe from 1939 to 1945, leaving an indelible mark on human history. Millions perished, cities lay in ruins, and the world grappled with the horrors of genocide and total war. The war's outcome, a hard-fought victory by the Allied forces, shaped the world we know today. But what if the outcome had been different? What if Germany, the instigator of this global conflict, had emerged victorious? The very idea sends chills down our spines. It forces us to confront a chilling alternate reality, a world reshaped in the image of Nazi ideology. This essay will explore this unsettling hypothetical scenario. We will delve into the potential turning points that could have led to a German victory. Then we will examine the ramifications of such an outcome, exploring the political, social, technological and cultural shifts that might have occurred. This is not an exercise in glorifying Nazi ideology. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of freedom and the importance of confronting the evils of intolerance and hatred. By understanding the potential consequences of a Nazi victory, we can better appreciate the sacrifices made to defeat them and the need to remain vigilant against such dangerous ideologies. The lessons of the past, as painful as they may be, can serve as a guide for the present and the future. The hypothetical victory of Nazi Germany in World War II hinges on a series of critical turning points, moments where the tide of war could have shifted in their favor. One such turning point might have been the successful invasion of Britain in 1940. Had Germany's Luftwaffe gained air superiority over the English Channel and crippled the Royal Air Force, Operation Sea Lion, the planned invasion of Britain, might have become a terrifying reality. Another crucial factor would have been the avoidance of a two-front war. Germany's decision to invade the Soviet Union in 1941, breaking the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, proved to be a fatal strategic error. Had Hitler instead focused on consolidating his gains in Western Europe and securing vital resources in North Africa, he might have been able to stave off a war of attrition on two fronts. Further, imagine if German scientists had won the race for the atomic bomb. The development and deployment of such a devastating weapon could have brought the war to a swift and decisive end, forcing the Allies to surrender unconditionally. The consequences of such a scenario are almost too terrible to contemplate. A world where Nazi Germany emerged victorious from World War II is a chilling prospect to consider. The political landscape would have been reshaped entirely. Europe, from the Atlantic coast to the Ural Mountains, would have been under the iron grip of the Third Reich. The Nazi ideology, with its poisonous doctrines of racial purity and Aryan supremacy, would have been imposed upon conquered populations. Collaborationist regimes, owing their allegiance to Berlin, would have been installed in conquered nations, enforcing Nazi rule and suppressing any form of dissent. The horrors of the Holocaust, far from being a tragic anomaly, might have become normalized, a chilling testament to the depths of human depravity unleashed by unchecked power. Beyond Europe, the impact of a Nazi victory would have been felt globally. Germany's allies in the Axis powers, namely Imperial Japan and Fascist Italy, would have carved up their own spheres of influence. Asia and Africa, already grappling with the legacies of colonialism, would have been subjected to new forms of imperial domination. The United States, isolated and weakened, might have been forced to negotiate an uneasy peace, ceding global leadership to the Third Reich. Under the oppressive rule of a victorious Nazi regime, daily life in conquered territories would have been a grim struggle for survival. The Nazi ideology permeated every aspect of society, from education and culture to economics and governance. The regime's racial policies, rooted in twisted pseudoscience, would have led to the systematic persecution and extermination of entire populations. Jews, Roma, LGBTQ individuals, political dissidents, and anyone deemed undesirable by the Nazi regime would have faced unspeakable horrors. Fear and suspicion would have been constant companions, as neighbors informed on neighbors, and the Gestapo, the Nazi secret police, maintained an iron grip on society. Freedom of speech, assembly, and the press would have been extinguished, replaced by relentless propaganda designed to glorify the Nazi regime and instill obedience in the populace. The education system would have been thoroughly indoctrinated, churning out generations steeped in Nazi ideology. Children would have been taught to worship Hitler as a godlike figure and to embrace the tenets of racial hatred and German supremacy. Culture and the arts would have been subject to strict censorship, with only works deemed acceptable to the Nazi regime allowed to be produced or consumed. Resistance, however futile, might have smoldered beneath the surface, finding expression in clandestine acts of sabotage, the whispered words of defiance, and the yearning for a freedom that seemed lost forever. However, the human spirit, even in the face of unimaginable darkness, possesses an indomitable will to resist.